The first time I arrived in Germany, I arrived with two big bags. One of the bags was filled with a whole lot of foodstuff all the way from Nigeria. You needed to see me struggle with those two bags at Frankfurt. You don't have to blame me, you have to blame my mom. My mom is a very wonderful evil woman who wanted to make sure that her son had enough food to eat in a far away land. It didn't take me a long time to realize that some of those stuff I had all the way from Nigeria to Germany were not really necessary. I could easily buy those things from the supermarkets in my city. As an international student coming from Africa, specifically Nigeria, it is very, very important that you pack your bags very strategically when you're coming to study in Germany or Europe at large. So in this video, I'll be talking to you about the important things you need to make sure you bring from your home country to Europe or to Germany, as the case may be, so that you don't end up packing a whole lot of stuff that you don't really need. You can easily get in your city or anywhere you are studying. My name is MacJoe, and I always say it's a good life, make it really count. So let's dive into the video. The first point of call is your documents. Yes, you have to make sure you secure your documents and get them ready. They are the most important aspect of your traveling. Your passport, of course, with your visa stamped in, your admission letter, your certificates from your previous degree, maybe your bachelor's or your master's degree, as the case may be. You need to get all these things ready, because by the time you arrive, the airport, there will be, of course, immigration check, and you have to make sure you prove that you are a student coming from your home country to study in a particular city, in a particular country in Europe. So you don't want to get there and then you tell them, oh, I forgot something, because I don't think they will listen to you at that point, right? So your documents are the most important things. All your transcript, make sure you get everything ready. It is better you go with them and then they are not asked for it than you get there and then they are requesting for a particular document and you don't have them. So it's better to be safe by taking every document that proves your scholarship, that proves that you're a student, as the case may be. The second aspect of your preparation is your clothing. Guys, this one is very important. Of course, some of you already know how the weather can really fluctuate here in Europe. It's usually very crazy. It can just start raining at any time. It can get so cold, down to even -1 degrees. And if you're coming from Nigeria or from any tropical countries in Africa, that's not what you want to deal with your normal clothing in Nigeria, right? Or in your home country, as the case may be. So it usually gets very cold in Europe, and from at the beginning of the year and at the very closing point of the year. So depending on the time you're coming over to study, you have to bear in mind that you need thick jackets. Okay, this is very important, and it can get expensive to buy in Europe. So it's important that you go to your local market. In Nigeria, we call it okrika. You can just go to some okrika in Lagos or anywhere in your city and get some really thick jackets that you will need during the winter season. By the time you settle down as a student and you don't like them anymore, maybe you now have some money, you can get new ones for yourself. You can also decide to get some pairs of jeans. I mean, you will need these things. It's very important here in Europe, and coming over for the first time, you may need to get them from home, maybe way cheaper for you. Here in Europe, of course, you can be sure that we do a lot of walking, a lot of walkings here. So you want to make sure you don't come here with your Christmas shoe, those ones you wear when you are walking in. It's not good for walking, right? So please get some sneakers, because you will do a lot of walking. You need to have your 2 feet comfortable while you walk from one place to another. And then, yes, of course, you need to get some of your special traditional wears, like some Ankara, some Abada, as the case may be, depending on the part of Nigeria you are coming from or part of Africa you are coming from. It's very important you package all these traditional wears, because you won't easily, get them in Europe. I mean, where do you see the tailor that will sew those things for you here? Except you are in some cities, there may be, of course. But so get them ready and bring as many as you can to show off our rich culture from Nigeria or from any country in Nigeria when summer comes, when you can wear this clothes. So yeah, guys, bring them along. Let's talk about food. This is the point where I wanted to carry the whole Nigeria, the whole of my states to Germany, because I wasn't sure what to bring along and what not to bring along. So what kind of food stuff should you bring along? I mean, if you're talking about rice, guys, drop it. Drop. You don't need to bring rice here. There are different types of rice, I can tell you. Even parboiled rice, that is very common. you know, you can get it here. So you don't need to bring rice along. You don't even need to bring beans, because beans, we have beans. You don't even need to bring any kind of vegetables like carrots, all those normal vegetables. You can find them everywhere. But of course, you can bring some vegetables that are not easily found here, like something like your oha, maybe not really oha, or maybe your kase, or maybe changu, as I don't know what you call it in your language, but you can bring these things, dry them under, you know, room temperature, and bring them along, because you won't easily find these things. Other things also you can bring along, like egusi. You can find egusi here, but I'm not sure the quality will be so great, and especially I suppose somebody who is coming for the first time, you may not be able to afford, you know, egusi here. So bring egusi along, you know, bring some maybe if you want to bring beans, you can bring ground beans, maybe for making some akara, as the case may be. Another thing is fish, guys, fish, okporoko, bonga fish, all those stuff. Bring them along, because they are not easily, you know, found around here, so that you can at least enjoy some Nigerian meal while you stay here, at least for the half of the year, at least for 6 months. You can have some wonderful, you know, okporoko and, you know, fish, bonga fish, all those catfish, you know, smoked fish, all of them all packed up for you. You can enjoy them for a while while your taste buds, you know, are still resetting, you know, because for some of us, it took some time to be able to get used with some food. So bring as much as you can when it has to do with fish and crayfish, as an Igbo person may be. You should, of course, bring some pepper if you are the kind of person that eats a lot of spicy. These things actually, depending on in the city where you are, you can find them, but they can be really expensive. And you're coming for the first time, take as much as you can. For some of you who like to drink gari, please bring your Ijebu gari along, okay? Because the gari you may meet here in Europe may not be the type you would like to drink, right? So please bring as much as you can. Maybe some of you may be thinking, should I bring pots and some cutleries? You don't need to bring pots and cutleries. Actually, you can get those things for free on the streets. Actually, in Germany, it's something called Zu Vashaikum. You can get it for free, so you don't really need to. And if you are going to a dormitory, sometimes in the flat you can at least use some of the ones from your flatmates. For some of them may allow you to use theirs at least for a while, then you can get yours. You don't need to bring them along. So let's talk about electronics. Of course, you know, electronics will be a very part of your study experience here in Europe. So it's important that if you are maybe trying to buy new electronics, or you already have them, it's important you know the kind of adapters you should bring along, or the kind of electronics you should go for if you are trying to buy some new phones or some new laptops, as the case may be. So let's say you already have your electronics and you want to make sure they are powered while you are here for the first few weeks of your stay here. It's important you buy some universal, or you can even get some European adapters, you know, in some local markets in your country, maybe in some big cities in your countries. You can find these things and then you buy them. You can see already on your screens the kind of sockets, power sockets used here. So buy those adapters and get them ready for your travel. So let's say you want to buy some new electronics, like say your phone for your coming to Europe, or you want to buy some laptops for your coming. Let's just focus on phones, of course, because we know already as Nigerians there are some phone brands that we have here and there all over the place. But some of those phone brands do not really, I don't know how to put it, but if they have issues, maybe you need to repair them, you can't find anyone that can repair them. So I would advise you go with the known brands like Samsung, like iPhone, maybe, and some other known brands, and not Infinix and Tecno, as the case may be. But of course, if you already have this kind of phones, you can still bring them along, and maybe with time you can change them. Let's talk about toiletries and medication. Finally, toiletries are found all over Europe, right? Toothpaste, cream, soap. In fact, my mom actually added soaps, washing soaps for me. When I remember these things, that I really laugh now, because those things, washing soaps are not really necessary. So toiletries, you can bring your toothpaste at least for 1 week. Bring your special soap. If these soaps, some of us are very, very sensitive when it has to do with toiletries. So maybe bring some soaps that you know that cannot be easily found. The brands are not here. You can bring them along for your showering, and then maybe some cream. You can bring them that that maybe their brands are not here. Bring them for a while. So maybe as you use them in your very first weeks here, you can begin to look around the brands that will fit your own skin. This is especially for women. Men, we don't really care, right? We don't care. Women are very, very careful, you know, when it has to do with lotion and what they apply on their faces, face wash, mouthwash, blah, 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 all the washes. So you can bring some of those things, especially if you are sure that their brands are not found here, that you can use for a while. Then you look around and get the new brand that's will fit. Also, maybe you can bring some medication, maybe some traditional medicine, I don't know, as the case may be, maybe some oils, I don't know how it is in your home country or in your culture, as the case may be, just some things you know that you may not found here, maybe some traditional medicine that is of course approved, you know, by health authorities, right? So you can bring them along. You have malaria or something, and of course malaria is not common here in Europe. Maybe you have your approved abo for the Yoruba guys, so you can just bring maybe small shots, you know, just bring it along as the case may be. That is if you think you will need them. Some people may not need them, so you don't need to bring them at all. And if you are on a special medication prescribed by the doctor, bring some along, and then with time you know your way, you know your path, you know the pharmacies around your vicinity, and know how to go about getting these special medications that may be unique to you. Also, for some of you who have maybe some vaccination card, which is also important, it's also advisable that you bring those vaccination cards alongside, because sometimes you need to show proof for these things. If you need any kind of vaccination in the future, this may be very, very important, you know, for your health journey here. So let's talk about banking and finance in your very first week here, or even during your arrival here in Germany, or maybe anywhere in Europe you are going to study. For some of you coming to study in Germany, of course, you know about the blocked accounts, or maybe you're on a scholarship. You won't have access to your banks in any way you are so easily. So it's important you change, you know, some few money, maybe have some few euros that can help you, you know, navigate things financially for the first few weeks of your stay here. Alternatively, if you are using a bank that can offer you some international services, then that is also good. Maybe you can have some, you know, withdrawals, you know, internationally, then that is also fine. That is even better for you, so you don't carry cash on you. So guys, the list is not exhaustive. It's just to give you an idea on how to pack your bags strategically, and knowing on what things you should bring along and what things not to bring along. I hope you come here soon to join us, you know, in your wonderful study here in Europe, or maybe in Germany, and maybe get to meet you someday somewhere, and maybe exchange some handshakes and some pleasantries. I want to remind you again now that it's a good life. Make it count, make it count, make it count, make it count. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? Subscribe. So with this, I would like to say thank you very much, and bye.